It's telling of the times that we're currently in that right now Canadians are witnessing the federal carbon tax being dismantled. And it's not being dismantled by a conservative majority government. In fact, it's actually being dismantled by Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and the Liberal Party themselves. Now, this isn't intentional. They're not coming out in a press conference saying, hey guys, we messed up, we're going to get rid of the carbon tax. They're just trying to stop applying the carbon tax to certain voting bases that they're trying to win back, since they're really waning in the poll numbers these days, and especially the fundraising numbers. So Justin Trudeau, just a few days ago, and this is funny because a week ago, Liberal cabinet ministers were saying they were not considering getting rid of the carbon tax at all. But Trudeau, a few days ago, declares that he's going to put a 3-year pause on the carbon tax for heating oil. Now, know that heating oil is primarily used in the maritime provinces. About 40% of households in Atlantic Canada use heating oil, and obviously Justin Trudeau is trying to gird up the Liberal Party numbers in that area of Canada, an area of Canada where the Liberals used to absolutely win, literally won every single seat back in 2015, but they're losing a lot of ground these days. So this was obviously to throw a bone towards Atlantic Canada, try and hold on to their support and sort of stave off any conservative flips in that area for different seats. Now, why this is such a silly thing for Justin Trudeau to do, and tantamount to him dismantling his own carbon tax, is he's killing off all the reasons to keep the carbon tax around. Premier of Saskatchewan Scott Moe pointed out he's basically killing off 2 myths of the carbon tax that the Liberal government has been pushing, which means that the carbon tax could easily go away now. Scott Moe has basically threatened that Saskatchewan might stop collecting the carbon tax from their residents because obviously the carbon tax no longer applies to everyone. That's one of the sort of issues with what Justin Trudeau is doing. He's basically saying the carbon tax really doesn't matter and it only applies to certain people. So why should Saskatchewan enforce the carbon tax against its own citizens who don't use heating oil, like based on the idea that we're all supposed to be paying, the price of pollution or whatever? Obviously, it's no longer a pressing matter that everyone pays it, so why should anybody pay it? And also, what Justin Trudeau has done by saying that people in the Maritimes using heating oil don't have to pay the carbon tax for their home heating, he is saying that the carbon tax is hurting Canadians, something he has avoided saying for 8 years since pushing the carbon tax. The idea was that, well, actually through rebates, people who make under $80,000 a year are actually benefiting from the carbon tax because you pay less in the carbon tax at the gasoline pump than you get back in rebates. Now, this was always nonsense. Even those making less than $40,000 a year who are getting the full benefit of the carbon tax are obviously being hurt at the grocery store and anything else that needs energy to be created or transported, which is effectively every product on the entire planet outside of digital assets. But so Justin Trudeau is saying that we're pausing the carbon tax in the Maritimes on heating oil because it is hurting the Maritimers' ability to afford the costs of living. So obviously the carbon tax is not one of these sort of neutral, positive things that's actually great for everybody. It's hurting certain people, and Justin Trudeau is admitting it. And in court, the Liberals have even tried to argue that the carbon tax is actually good for people. It's not hurting anybody, so that provinces have to settle down who are trying to take legal challenges to the carbon tax. And again, when you're not applying the carbon tax equally, then why should anybody else pay for it? I hope other provinces take the lead of Scott Moe in Saskatchewan and just declare they're not going to pay for it either. Because imagine if income taxes just had exemptions if you were living in certain jurisdictions, that they make some nonsensical cutouts industries in this certain valley in this province are kind of being hard hit, so we're just going to cancel income and corporate taxes. Well, that's not how taxes should work. Taxes don't just get to be levied against people that you think can pay better than others. People pay based on their income. They don't pay based on their region outside of provincial taxes, where it's obviously opt-in by living there. When it comes to the federal government, you don't get to pick and choose who pays taxes, and this is why I frankly oppose a lot of specific taxes on specific products. I don't like the idea that something gets taxed at luxury prices, something just has a normal sales tax, and other things get tax exemptions on certain imports or exports. It's a foolish system. It's just a sort of economic micromanaging from the government that we really shouldn't have. Now, I think that Justin Trudeau is almost hoping that his unintentional actions to get rid of the carbon tax get rid of it. Not that he wants to openly get rid of it, but he doesn't want this to be an election issue in 2025. He's hoping that come time that he's on a debate stage with Pierre Poilievre, he can basically say, well, Pierre, I know you keep going on about the carbon tax, but it's been 2 years since we've had a carbon tax, and Canadians have bounced back handsomely in the economy. He doesn't want to have to wear this albatross in the next election. So he actually might encourage premiers by poking at them to try and get rid of the carbon tax so that he doesn't have to run on it. Because I don't see the Liberals as being so incompetent that getting rid of the carbon tax on heating oil wouldn't create a big domino effect. And a lot of people who, I'm not saying they're pro carbon tax, but they're pretty neutral on the subject, like Trevor Tombe from the University of Calgary, has pointed out that the argument that the Liberals are making against heating oil on the grounds of affordability could literally be applied to any other product or any other sort of any other product in Canada that the carbon tax is applied to. If people being in economic struggles designates a tax to be defunct, then obviously the carbon tax should be defunct all across Canada. We're effectively already in a recession. We have massive inflation troubles, and only Maritimers are having trouble. I don't think Maritimers would agree to that. I think they would recognize that everyone else in the country is also hurting really bad, and that it's absurd to make people pay a tax that does not do anything for the environment in order to put a price on pollution. Because, let me be very clear. The carbon tax does nothing. Because if it's just a redistributionary tax like the Liberals claim it is, well, how is it stopping climate change? Also, you're taxing gasoline and energy. Some of the most inelastic goods in the entire economy. After food and clothing, people buy gasoline for their car because you need to get to work some distance away from your home. You need to heat your home. And people, if you just put a small tax on it, when I say small, not the carbon tax isn't hurting people, but I mean, even though it's just a small percentage of the overall gasoline price, obviously that's not going to make people stop buying buying gas for their car, and they're going to walk to work. That's absurd. It's an inelastic good. Elastic goods are things that you don't really need, DVD packages of random television shows that ended 20 years ago. Yes, if taxes were applied to DVD box sets of sitcoms, people would stop buying them because you don't really need that. So a 40% tax on that will make people quickly stop paying for it. Whereas gasoline, even if you put a 100% tax on gasoline, people will buy gas still. They'll just drive to whatever their local MP's office is and break down the door and tell them to get rid of it. It's just one of those products that people cannot live without. So it's actually cruel to tax it, because you're not going to get people to change their behavior to live a little bit differently so it doesn't get applied to them so hard. It's a product that only causes pain because people cannot avoid the pain on the product. Even if they stop driving, it is still being applied to the truckers bringing the food to the grocery store they go to. It's still even applying to things like shampoo being put on the shelves at London Drugs. It applies to everything. So I'm happy that Justin Trudeau is silently agreeing with Conservatives for once and getting rid of the carbon tax. Anyways, this should be pretty much it for me today. I'm just going to plug my current legal fundraiser in the description of this video. We just got past questioning of the guy suing me. It went very well for us, I think. My questioning should be coming up in a couple weeks' time. It cost me a lot of money to fight this court case, so if you can just throw $50 my way, $25 my way in the Give, Send, Go description link below, that would be amazing. I also have my X or Twitter. I still like calling it Twitter. I have my Twitter account's URL also in the description if you want to follow me there. And by the way, I'm also running to be the Conservative Party nominee for the riding of Calgary-Signal Hill. So if you live in Signal Hill or you know anybody in Signal Hill, let them know that I'm running. Tell them to buy a Conservative membership and vote for me whenever the nomination election day comes. That would be fantastic. Other than that, I hope everyone has a beautiful Halloween day. I know I'm not wearing anything Halloweenish or anything in my sets Halloween themed. That Georgian cartoon book kind of looks a little freaky, but yeah, nothing too interesting here. I should wear an orange tie or something for if I record another video today. I'm deeply sorry. Other than that, have a great day.